Hey guys, Ken Hill here, Guns, Gear, and Freedom. Today I've got a review for a Lee Progressive 1000 reloading press. I picked one up on eBay back when reloading presses were really hard to come by, and I paid about, I think I paid about $270 plus shipping. At that time they were going for over $500 for this press, so to me that was a pretty good deal. Now after the hype is all settled down, of course the prices have dropped, and they're much easier to acquire. However, I needed something that would load 9mm because I shoot a lot of 9mm. I have several, and yeah, I just had to have a press, and I really wanted to get to be able to reload some 9mm. So I'm going to go ahead and do a review of my Lee Progressive 1000 press today and show you how it works and how easy it is to operate. Today we'll be reviewing the Lee Pro 1000 Progressive 3-stage press for 9mm, and I'm gonna show you guys how it cycles. The first thing with the Lee Progressive press that you'll notice is there's a red hopper for powder. It also has just below that a disc powder measure. It's an auto powder measure, and it does measurements by volume. Moving down, you will see the dies, and over here is the primer magazine, and we'll see if we can get a better picture of that. The primer magazine is basically a place that, if I hold the light right, you'll be able to see all the primers I have loaded. Basically, you just load up a bunch of primers. I try to keep it about 100 and no more for safety reasons, but you load up about 100 primers in there and they trickle down into your press automatically. Sometimes you might have to give this thing a little tap like that, and it usually, you know, knocks some of them down the hole like it's supposed to if they quit flowing. Then moving along, you have these big tubes here full of empty brass, and I believe each of those tubes, there's 4 of them, and I think they hold about 25 rounds approximately. And then down lower is where the action happens. You basically have some places where your shells rotate. I'm going to start and show you one. I could do several, up to 3 at a time in there, but I'm just going to do one and explain what's happening as it's going around. The first step is that we're going to put an empty brass casing in, so I'm going to pull the handle back a little bit, and I'm going to manually insert one. You'll notice that the case still has the primer in it, the old cement primer. We're going to knock that out of there. This is what happens in the first pull of the handle. There's actually a needle up in there that you can see, that's right there, and it will actually poke the primer out, and we'll do that right now. Oops, sorry, I'm really shaky. Got to index the round first. There, it's indexed, you can see, and then it's going to go up into that needle area. Sorry about the lighting, guys. And it has just now poked the primer out, and then down it comes. It will spin over to get a new primer put in on the up push of the handle. So we push it forward, and it just seated a primer. I felt it go in. And then you'll also notice down below that, I'll come around to the other side so you can see, this station up here is where the powder will dispense from once that casing goes up in there. So we're gonna go ahead and crank it up in there. Just gonna drop some powder down. There it was. It just filled with powder. My press is a little sticky at about this point here, and then it's going to swing over here where I can put a slug in it. And I've got both hollow points and round nose. I'm just going to use a round nose. We'll slip it in on there just like that, and you'll notice up there it just goes right in there and crimps it down, and it goes crimped, and down it comes. Sorry for the shaky camera. And it just spits it out down in this tray, and there you have a 9mm round. And the more you make, the more they spit out. So yeah, but a pretty little slick device. I love it. I've already loaded almost a full box, not quite, but of those full metal jacket round noses, and I like it. I really like this press. There are a few things I don't like about it, like how stiff it is after it loads the powder. On the back upswing, it kind of hangs on me for some reason, not real sure why. Kind of afraid to put some lube down there because I've heard lube can mess up the primers and stuff like that, so I don't want to get any lube down there. I'm kind of afraid to do something like that, so I'm not sure what's causing it to stick. Maybe because it's new and it hasn't broken in yet, or maybe that's just common with these. I don't really know, but I think, what else is there? Oh yeah, when I first got this press also from the factory, I had to use this to set the depth of the seating basically for these. The first bullet I ever did, I crimped it way too far and it went way down into the shell casing, and that's not what you want to do. So what I did to fix that is I took a factory Federal 9mm round and I indexed it into the press here. There's a way to put the press into neutral by pulling it about halfway up, and then this thing will free turn and you can index brass into it and go in reverse, kind of like this, and you can just index it. Well, I indexed it to the position of the crimp and it had a slug on there already, so I just cranked the handle up in there, and then I went up here and I dialed it down until I felt I screwed that down until I felt it touch the tip of the round nose slug on the factory load, and then I knew I was at the proper seating depth for these type of slugs, and of course it just spits it back out when you're done. I can tell you guys right now, this is very addicting. It's almost nerve calming, I would say. I actually like to reload, and I never knew I would. It's almost like an addiction, and it's worse than smoking cigarettes, I think. I can't wait to put the next one in and crank the handle a few times. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna reload a couple more just for the fun of it. Not too bad. I've been putting them in a little tray like this, so I've got several. It's kind of dark in my room, but I got this little light here. Whoa, crazy light. But yeah, bullet, not too shabby. Got carried away. I actually like the little press. And there is something else I want to talk about on this press, and you'll notice there's this round thing, and I'm pretty sure you can see that there's a ton of primers in here. This thing can be dangerous. I recommend to only load about 100 of the primers in there, and the reason is this is an automatic feed from this primer magazine down this tube here into your press, and you'll kind of see if I swing around over here that there's some, well, maybe if I can get the camera around the bar, there are some primers down in here. Well, it's really hard to show you, but there's some primers that you can see, and they automatically feed down, and this little, where's that deal? That little device right there presses them in, and sometimes if you get one in there kind of wrong, it could crush it, and of course we all know what happens when you crush primer. You risk ignition, and if you ignite that primer, you're gonna blow this thing apart and get hurt or something else. There's some videos out on YouTube that show that actually happening. I don't want it to happen to me. One more thing I want to mention about that magazine here is the booklet that come with the press says that they recommend that you only use Remington or CCI number 500 small pistol primers. I have picked up back when primers were hard to get a hold of, a box of Federal small pistol primers, and I actually picked up 4 boxes because there was plenty of them, and I have not used them because again, I've heard that people have had issues where they've blown this part up because these are too soft, and when this little apparatus down here where my thumb is pushes the primer into the bullet casing, it has a tendency, these can bind, crush, and explode, and yeah, I don't want that to happen. So I thought I would throw that into my list of peeves, that with this press you can only use the recommended ones to be safe. I mean, I'm sure you could get away with these, but why chance it? So yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there. So I highly recommend that anybody using progressive press, definitely, or any reloading press for that matter, use safety glasses, for God's sake. Definitely save your eyes and maybe your life, and yeah, you'll be well on your way. This little powder measure also can be turned on and off by twisting it simply. That's off, and then this is on. I see mine's a little loose for some reason, and it shouldn't. Seems to work pretty well. I'll probably be cranking out some rounds to take out to the range for one of my shooting videos. I've got a bullet review to do. Brass by Bill LLC donated 100 rounds of hollow points for me to review, and I don't want to ruin the review, but they're not little flaky ones at all. They're pretty neat. So anyway, I'm gonna review those, shoot them, see how well they perform, and give my overall opinion of them, but I think they're pretty solid so far. Thanks guys for joining me for this review of the Lee Progressive 1000 press. As you can see, it works pretty effective, but there are a few things that you have to get used to. I mean, it's not something that you just jump on and think everything's going to go perfect. It takes a little bit of fine-tuning, some adjustments. Definitely have to pay attention or things could go seriously wrong. And like I said, I recommend using some safety glasses when you're using this thing, because if something blows up in your face, those will save your eyes or your face. And yeah, I like my eyes. I'm sure you do too. Or else, you know, without eyes you can't watch my videos, so think about that. Anyways, if you guys like my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Leave comments down in the comments section. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. I'll do my best to answer. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a good day.